Let's have some tea and just talk. Something I learned just the other day is back in the 1800s, they had something called penny universities. And basically, they were English coffee houses. And it cost a penny to get in, and with your penny, you got one free cup of coffee. But they really were places to have polite conversation. So, just like a local coffee house, one of those more beatnik style where you feel the culture of poetry and reading and art, and people would reason things and they would have sobering debates on matters of politics and science, literature and poetry, commerce, religion, and so much so that London coffee houses became known as penny universities. And so I thought today we would have one of those moments together where I just talk and we kind of philosophize some things that I've been thinking about lately. I think it's so important to take little moments out of your day to do things that are nice for yourself. And I'm going to have a little tea and these new carrot cake Oreo cookies with some Earl Grey tea, and I'm going to sit in one of my most favorite spots in the house, and I'm going to allow myself to just treat myself to this moment and to be so grateful and thankful for this space that I'm sitting in right now and that I'm able to share it with you. Yesterday, I had a really amazing conversation with my parents who are aging, and just as all of us do, we grow old and we have so many stories of our life. Our lives are filled with experiences, and when we're younger, we take for granted that all those stories will always be there. But I wanted to know certain things about my parents that when you're young, you don't ask questions about deeper things of how they came to do certain things. And so it was really amazing to spend time talking to them and asking very pointed questions about things about, owning their own business and how they started that, and going to school and how long it took, to graduate, and how they went from one job to a different job to owning a business. And I just found it so profound to be able to share these stories. And what I want to say to anyone listening is, if you haven't taken the time to talk to your parents, ask them questions about the things that you just kind of took for granted, or the questions you never asked as a child. Ask those questions now and really find out who your parents are. Try to know their story. And I think it's so important to come out of yourself a little bit and just find out more about who they are. We can't assume that we have forever. None of us do, and every moment is a blessing, and we need to cherish those moments and cherish those stories so that we never forget them. Another really important thing that I did with each one of my own children was to tell each one of them what was happening on the day of their birth, in the hospital room, with family members, and even things that may have been happening in the world. And I shared those things because once I'm gone, they will never have an opportunity to know those stories. And it just makes me think about how precious life is and how each one of us has such a unique and beautiful story that needs to be shared. Yesterday I went to the store to pick up a few things, and every time I go to the store, there's always a crow that's sitting on the same sign in the parking lot, and he's always crowing nonstop. And I have a special love for crows. I just feel like they get a bad rap. They are so resourceful and so smart. And this time I realized that I had a peanut in my pocket, and I feed crows here in my own home and feed the birds and the squirrels who come to me daily, and I feed them and they share the joy of letting me look at their life and what they do. And so I made sure to bring a peanut with me if I saw that crow. And of course, he was there crowing, and they're very cautious. But as I walked by, I went up a little bit and I said, "Hello, crow, crow." And the crow looked at me, and I made sure not to get too close because it makes them nervous and they don't know me. But I threw the peanut down and he looked at it, but he didn't act like he was going to go for it. And I just knew to just keep walking and let him have that moment. Let him choose to come down when he wants to. I didn't want to scare him away. And after I did my brief shopping, I only had to pick up a few items. I came back towards my car and I saw the crow on top of a red car, a red utility vehicle, and he had that peanut and he was cracking it open on top of the car, which kind of made me laugh, because if you've ever seen a crow open something up, what they do is they put it on a hard surface and they peck at it. So it kind of made me laugh because he was pecking at it on top of someone's car. And he was just so happy. And once he was done, he flew over to a different sign, and I saw him kind of wiping his beak, and he was happy and he wasn't crowing. And the crows are just so amazing to me, and they really just, to me, symbolize how to be resourceful in life and also how to be grateful, and how you have to give comfort in order to earn trust with them. And I think human beings are very similar that way. You know, we have to earn the trust of other people, and I think through our kindness and through giving and allowing people to be who they are and evolve and show us who they are in their own time frame, that when you do that and you don't push, it allows people and animals to trust you. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. You know, in life we're all going through stuff. We're all going through things, and we have highs and lows, peaks and valleys, and times where we have to kind of figure out our new path, and it's not always apparent the direction our life is going to go. But even in those confusing times, we're given that space of time because we are being productive in other ways that eventually we will understand all served a purpose, even our confusion. And I just think of family, and I think of the love of my sisters, and having conversations recently with my family, and especially with one of my sisters in particular, and just made me think about how fortunate we are to have family, and how those bonds and the knowing other human beings for your entire life, when you stop to think about that, is such an incredible thing. Sometimes family members really know you. Other times, some family members don't know you at all, but we're so lucky to have the opportunity to have family in our life and to be of support to each other. And I know for me, my sisters have always been my friends, and that is the best foundation of friendship that you can have with people that have known you your entire life and they love you. And so, if you haven't reached out to your family of late, I highly recommend that you reach out and tell your sisters, your brothers, your parents, your mom, your dad, your cousins, your friends, your adopted family. Tell them that you love them. Thank you for having tea with me. Let's do this again at the Penny University next week.